Stand by for Bwana.org radio. In 3, 2, 1. Cue the announcer.
You found Bwana.org radio, your one source for tech news and reviews. Now, almost live from sunny Florida, here's your host, Bwana McCall.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to episode 250 of Bwana.org radio. We got a great show lined up tonight. It's going to be bittersweet, guys. You know what's coming. Some of you know what's coming. Some of you don't. But this is going to be the absolute last episode of Bwana.org radio. I know. It saddens the heart, but I got plenty of good reasons. And I'm not going to be completely gone. So I think you guys, once I go over the details, it's going to be the first story we talk about. I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. And you know, we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So we're going to make this final episode a good one. I mean, it's not going to be any you know, hugely different from, you know, what you're used to seeing on Bwana.org radio. But it's a bittersweet thing, so I'm not going to dwell on it right now. Got a great show lined up for episode 250 of Bwana.org Radio.
It's time for Bwana.org radio's tech news for this week.
And we're going to jump right in it. The first story has to do with this podcast, Bwana.org Radio. So on May 21st, that was last week sometime, I believe, I posted a tweet, and it basically said that, hey guys, you need to come by my audio podcast tonight, or come by the live stream tonight, and we will have a special announcement regarding the podcast. And with that, I conducted the announcement, and I basically told everybody that Bwana.org radio will no longer be in its current state. It's going to be a merger, if you will, between Bwana.org radio and Bwana.tv. And I go on to explain on this blog post, you know, that it saddens me. It's a bittersweet moment. But, you know, the main motivator behind all of this is time. You know, I pour a lot of my free time into this. This is a hobby of mine. And, you know, I was neglecting certain parts of it. And I polled you guys. I asked everyone, you know, what's your preference? You know, what do you guys like? And, you know, overwhelmingly, people preferred the Bwana.tv format. But there was a lot of you out there who preferred the Bwana.org radio as well. So, you know, the majority went towards Bwana.tv. And I was like, well, how can I shave time? You know, how can I save time? So I decided to produce the content that you're seeing right now in shorter video segments. So it's going to basically be like, if you remember my story of the day. No, let's do that right. Story of the day. You guys remember that, right? I did that on YouTube. And, you know, it was a big hit. People liked it. So I'm going to kind of go with that format. You know, one story per video. Topics that I usually cover on Bwana.org radio. And I think you guys will like it. And it's going to save me, believe it or not, it's going to save me a ton of time. Bwana.org radio in its current form really is time consuming. There's a lot that I do with this podcast now that I didn't used to do. My post-production used to be like 5 minutes. Like 5 to 10 minutes at the most. And I don't know, the time really crept up and made things a lot more difficult than they needed to be. And I was like, well, I need to make a change. So that's when I decided to make the announcement and tell everybody, hey, this is what we're going to do. And, you know, this is going to be the final show as of episode 250, which is this show. This is going to be the last Bwana.org radio. I'm going to retire the website. I'm going to keep all the content up there. So if you want to go back and listen to old ones, you can. But I'm going to close the content or close the site off, basically close comments and things like that. And basically just retire Bwana.org radio and kind of merge the content into Bwana.tv. So if you want information on that, guys, you want more information, go over to Bwana.org. It's actually going to be in the links as well. Go over to Bwana.org, and it's called Some Changes for 2010. That's the name of the blog post, which has the details. So check it out on my blog over there. The next story is kind of related, and it has to do with my presence online. If you've seen this big poster behind me, it's a avatar made by a company called Cartoon Me. And people always used to come in, why'd you make yourself look like that? I didn't make myself look like that. The company did. Cartoon Me took a photo of mine and created that. And I've been using that for a brand, per se. It's been kind of on top of my Bwana.tv logo. It's been on my Bwana.org radio album art. It's been my avatar for Twitter and all these kinds of stuff. So with these recent changes, I decided that I also should probably change my brand. And this is what I've done. I've come up with a simple logo. And this is also on Bwana.org, Bwana.org, my blog. A simple logo. And if you've watched my videos, you've probably seen this. And you're like, what is that B for? Well, the B stands for Bwana. Yeah, gold star for you if you got that right. The B stands for Bwana. I wanted a very simple look, something that's recognizable from an avatar perspective, even recognizable from a fave icon on a website, something as small as that. And I think this is a good brand to go forward with. It's going to be all things Bwana. It's going to be everything, not just audio, not just video, but everything that I do is going to be a part of that brand. So if you see that overlaid on my videos now, you'll know what it means, why it's there, and you can say goodbye to this one. I don't know if I'm going to do a new Rastabator thing behind me. That's blog posters. That's what people call it, Rastabators. But I don't know if I'm gonna do another blog poster or not. I might keep that up there. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I just recently popped in my head just right now. And that's what I'm going to do going forward with the brand. So check it out, guys. That one's over on my blog as well. You can read into why that B is there. And now you know where it's come from. So check it out. Now let's get into the real news, the real stuff. And I want to start with Google. Google's been hot lately in the news. They've been, ever since Google I/O, they've been all over the web about everything. So I just want to do a couple stories about Google, and let's talk about what they've been doing. The first one is Google Wave. Now, you guys remember when Google Wave first came out? All the hype that was behind it, all the hoopla, all of everything that was surrounding this. It was like the savior of the real-time web, and people put it on a pedestal, and they tried to make it something it wasn't, and the end result was, people left upset. They were like, this is nothing what I envisioned, and I would get in discussions, and I was like, well, they never said it was going to be that. That's kind of what you said. Google Wave has been positioned as a collaboration app, kind of like a real-time wiki mixed with email. And, if you think about it, a lot of normal people that do normal day-to-day stuff won't need this very often, which is why this next article makes sense, that Google Wave is graduating to Google Apps. This is the suite of apps that Google is positioning towards businesses. So businesses can really use Google Wave, and now it's graduated to be in Google Apps. So if you have a Google Apps for your domain, you should be able to use Google Wave. I'm not sure if it's available for everybody yet, but it has graduated to Google Apps. So congratulations to Google. They've done a great job with Google Wave. It has definitely improved in performance, features, and functions all across the board. If you use Google Wave in the beginning and you were like, man, this really stinks, you need to go back and try it again. And they've opened it up to everybody, by the way, so you can go to the regular Google Wave and use that. It's really improved. I mean, it's really improved. But I highly recommend you use either Chrome or you use Firefox. Does a decent job as well, but I think Google Chrome does a better job. And it kind of makes sense. It's Google's product. They're probably optimizing it for their browser. But if you find it eating up a lot of resources, try Google Chrome, and I think you'll have a better experience. Check it out, guys. Google Wave has graduated to Google Apps over there. This is on rewriteenterprise.com. Check it out. Now the next story is very, very similar. It has to do with Google Wave, and like I said in the beginning when I was talking about Google Wave, and people tried to make Google Wave something it wasn't because it had a great real-time feel. And that was when it was launched, that was when real-time web was really, 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 really big. And it's really so flexible that it's easy to do that. You can see the tool, what it does, the features. You know, you're basically collaborating with someone else. That can be an IM can be a collaboration if you think about it. If you just open an IM window and you instant message somebody, an SMS, a tweet, that can be a collaboration of sorts. So people took that mindset and kind of blew it out. Now this next story is kind of unique, and I think it actually works for Google Wave. This is how to use Google Wave for live blogging. And live blogging is for those outlets that cover live events, whether it be a Steve Jobs keynote, or whether it be Google I/O, or whether it be a Facebook privacy meeting that was recently happening. And that's what this story was kind of surrounding. You can use Google Wave to do real-time live blogging on your blog because you can embed Google Waves now. And since it's open to the public, you really don't have to be concerned about who has access and who doesn't. So what ReadWriteWeb has done is they've gone into detail on how you can do this. I mean, they got screenshots, they got all the steps that you need to do, and all the way down to embedding this to your blog. So if you want to live blog anything, I don't care what it is, or you just want to have a place where people can see you type in real time about a topic, then you might want to check out this post because it has some very, very good pointers on how to use Google Wave, outside of the sandbox, that it was designed for. And it's kind of a good use case. It's not those outlandish ones like it's going to replace Twitter or it's going to replace Facebook. No. This is actually a usable use case. So check it out, guys. ReadWriteWeb has the details about Google Wave and how you can use it for live blogging. Keep on riding on the Google train. We're going to talk about Google Buzz now. I told you, man, Google's been hot. Oh, man, they've been hot in the news. And we're going to talk about Google Buzz. This one came by way of Louis Gray today. It popped up in my Google Reader. And he brought to my attention that Google Buzz has added the ability to reshare items. Now, what does that mean? You guys see this little icon up here? It says retweet. That's exactly what it means. But it means you're going to be able to reshare items in Google Buzz. So if you see something in Google Buzz that's going down, or some article that's very, very interesting, and you want to share it with your followers, guess what? You can hit this magical reshare button and it will repost it to your feed, and you can add a comment, very similar to what FriendFeed was doing on their site, extremely similar to what retweet is on Twitter. So now we're seeing a kind of a feature gap close between FriendFeed and Buzz and Twitter and all these other sites that have been around a while. And reshare, people want to call it rebuzz. I'm not sure why Google called it reshare, but this is going to be slowly rolled out. It's not going to be available for everybody at once. So it's been slowly rolled out. People have been getting access. I think a couple people in my feed have gotten it. I haven't gotten it. I don't think Louis Gray got it yet, but it's slowly being rolled out. So if you do use Buzz, look for the reshare button to show up very, very soon. So check it out. They got the details over there over at louisgray.com. He's a great, great tech blogger. Check him out.
You're listening to Bwana.org Radio, a potpourri of tech news and reviews.
I'm going to go in a little bit of a segue here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Google, but we're going to talk about the WebM video codec that was kind of launched or announced at Google I/O. And this new container, if you will, this new codec, if you will, is going to be married with VP8. Now, Google recently acquired On2, and On2 used to champion VP6. If you've ever done any type of live streaming or live video, you probably have heard of VP6. It's a codec that's used alongside H.264. It's kind of in competition, if you will. So Google announced that WebM will be available later, whenever, I don't know. And this is going to be an open source codec to kind of go along with their vision for the future web. Now, the reason I'm talking about WebM, I'm not going to go into details about it, but the reason I'm talking about it is that VLC, one of my favorite multi-platform media players, has already incorporated WebM VP8 into their latest release candidate version of 1.1.0. Now, I'm using a beta version of 1.1.0 on my Windows 7 64 system. It has some fixes that I want to use. And I got to say, the player has improved. I'm on the 1.1 tree right now, and they've made some strides. And I was happy to see this because WebM may be a big player. VP8 may be a huge player. VP6 was formidable. It was a very good codec, especially if you didn't want to utilize a lot of CPU. And you don't want to do basic stuff. I know when I stream live on Justin.tv and Ustream, within Flash Media Encoder, they give you the option to use VP6 or H.264. H.264 tend to consume more CPU than VP6. Now, VP8 is the improved version of that. So if you want to view or create, I don't know if they have any encoding tools in this version. I don't think they do. But Google is offering that basic stuff on their dev site. You can definitely check out this release candidate version, which has the WebM VP8 versioning. The WebM VP8 codec capability embedded inside. VLC's on top of it, guys. Check it out. This one's over on the HOpen. They got the details over there. Now, last week, oh man, I don't even know if it was last week. It was. I forgot which day it was exactly. It seems like last week. Google celebrated the anniversary of Pac-Man. You don't know what Pac-Man is? I'm not gonna tell you. Pac-Man is a very popular game from the 80s. There, I told you. Now, Google released an online version of Pac-Man. What they did is that they turned their logo. Google does this on holidays and stuff and special events. They transform their logo to match it. So what they did was that their logo became Pac-Man. You would click, I think it was insert coin on Google's website, and boom, you could play Pac-Man right from the site. Apparently, a lot of people loved it. So many, I think they said 553 years of work time. I'm not exaggerating. It was 553 years of work time was lost as a result of this. Everybody was playing Pac-Man. Everybody. Pets, animals, goldfish, everybody was playing Pac-Man. So Google was like, well, maybe we should keep that up there. So this next story, says that Google put it up for permanence. They basically said that now you can go to google.com/Pacman and gave it a permanent home. So if you want to waste more time and risk getting fired from your job, or risk getting in trouble at school, or risk getting in trouble at home for not doing what you're supposed to do because you're playing Pac-Man on the Google logo for free, google.com/Pacman, then you can try it out for absolutely free. Now, this is a very cool hack, because what you can do is you can hit insert coin twice, and you can play two players at once. I don't think a lot of people knew that. You can hit insert coin twice, and Miss Pac-Man will pop up. And you can use the arrow keys to control one of them, and use WASD, W-A-S-D, to control the other one. At the same time. Very, very, very cool stuff. Check it out, man. Google did a good job. And this thing, it works on the iPad as well. It's not Flash. So, I think they did an HTML5. Very, very, very cool stuff from Google. Check it out. It's over on /gear.com. Now let's shift gears. We talked about Pac-Man. Now let's talk about some gaming news. And the one thing I want to talk about is the PS3. And a lot of people don't know this, that the PS3 has been doing very, very well in terms of worldwide market share. And I think that this article is going to shock a lot of people. This states that the PS3 global market share has increased to 31%. To 31%. Now, by comparison, the Nintendo Wii, I believe, was in the 40s. I don't think this article lists the actual numbers. I read another article that did. And then the Xbox 360 is behind. is behind the PS3. So, in terms of worldwide market share, like I said, a lot of people don't know this. The PS3 has more market share globally than the Xbox 360. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't know that. And, you know, the Xbox 360 is killing it in the United States. You know, they're crushing the PS3 in the United States, but worldwide, it's a different story. So this is a huge jump from 18% last year to 31% this year. That's huge. And the analysts have gone on record to state, I'm sorry about these ads, guys. I'm trying not to hover over them. Analysts have gone on record to say that they predict, like by 2011 or 12, that, you know, PS3 is going to overtake the Xbox 360 in terms of just sales everywhere, not just in worldwide market share. So I don't know, guys. I don't want to start a flame war here, but I just want to bring that to the forefront. PS3 is doing very, very well, and there's a lot more people out there with PS3s that you think. I'm saying you to the people who didn't know this. It's a very, very, very good platform. Now the Xbox 360 is as well, but you know the PS3 gets dismissed a lot because you know it gets killed in Japan sales and gets killed in United States sales by the Wii. Not recently, but in the past by the Wii and the 360. But worldwide, that global market share is growing. Check it out, guys. I got this article from Digital Trends, but it's like all over the web. You can just search for PS3 market share. You can find some links on that. So check it out, guys. They got the details on the web. Now, speaking of the PS3, we're going to talk about MAG. You guys know I like MAG, right? And I kind of took a hiatus because certain people asked me to wait for them to level up. What I was going to do is that in MAG, I was going to what we call veteran mode. Very similar to the Modern Warfare 2 Prestige mode, where if you hit a highest level, you can start over. So I was going to do that, and I was going to change factions. So these people, not going to say any names, asked me to wait. They said, "Bwana, wait for us. Don't go yet." And I said, okay, I'm going to wait. And I've been waiting. And waiting. And waiting. Anyway, a new patch is coming to MAG patch 1.06, and this states that combat medics will rejoice. This was a very, very, very annoying issue that this patch addresses. Now, let me first talk about all the other stuff that's in here. First, they're not going to allow you to damage your own members with the knife. And I'll tell you what would happen. You would spawn, right? And you would take off running. And if you depress, I think it's either L3 or R3, if you press one of those, you would hit the knife. And as soon as you spawn, you would knife a teammate. Accidentally. So they're trying to get rid of accidental knives against your own teammates. So now you won't deal damage. Headshot damage won't apply to friendly fire. They changed the reward system for resuscitation. So if you have partial health resuscitation, you're going to get half the XP if you do full resuscitation. Now, here's the big thing. They added functionality for the medical kit so that the player can now heal themselves with L1 and use R1 to heal or revive a teammate. This is very good. Let me tell you why this is very good. Because in the past, there was a glitch where you would try to revive a teammate or you would try to heal a teammate. You would be in range, the icon would change, and then you would heal yourself. And then you would get this verbal bashing by your teammate why you didn't revive him. And I'm like, I tried, but it healed myself and blah, 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 and you know, it was very, very annoying. So they're going to address that by assigning R1 to heal or revive your teammates. And there's some tweaks to some vehicle stuff here that I don't care about. Some stuff, was it guns? They're going to adjust the damage. They're going to increase the rate of fire. One of the things that they're going to do is I think they're going to nerf the LMGs again. They're going to be less effective at stabilizing fire with the foregrips. They're raising credit costs for a lot of different things. So as you build your loadout, there's going to be a ton of new increases. So if you're a fan of any of these items, whether it be SMGs, shotguns, rocket launchers, the tier 2 rocket launchers, smoke grenades, all that stuff, poison gas, all the credits are getting raised. And they're going to make some differences with the interface, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. The previous DLC is no longer going to require you to go to the PlayStation Store. A lot of stuff here. But we're all waiting for the big one. I know I am. I'm waiting for the big one, guys. I'm waiting for MAG to really come out with either a new play mode or new maps. It's getting to the point where they need it. The community is slowly withering away because a lot of good games are coming out, and unless they do a double XP weekend or these little DLCs, these patches, people are less reluctant to come back. So they promised. I mean, they've made a bunch of promises that before E3 there's going to be, or I think even after E3 there's going to be a huge patch that's going to require multiple updates and blah 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 blah. And they're promising all this. It really is needed because every time I go in the game there's less people. And I love this. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite games, and it's getting, the community's leaving. They got to give us something else to do. So, we're hoping, and those of us who really love MAG are hoping that they keep the ball rolling and keep us enticed in the game. Check it out, guys. This was over on joystick.com. They got information about the MAG patch over there. Now, let's talk about a game I just recently acquired. It's called Lost Planet 2, and it's got some mixed reviews. Whenever I see a game get a bad review, it makes me want to like it even more. You know what I'm saying? Because every time these games get bad reviews, I look at them and I go, "What? What do you know? You gave this crappy game a 10, but you're giving this decent game a 6." I always question reviews because they're either biased or they're very dependent on the person that's reviewing them. It's no way indicative of a factual review. It's all opinionated. So Lost Planet 2, I saw some gameplay on Justin.tv, and I liked what I saw. I was like, wow, that looks really fun. And the guy was playing multiplayer. And I was like, man, that looks fun. That looks like it's worth the money right there. So I picked it up, and sure enough, I really, really liked the game. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. So I was happy to see this article that 2 more Lost Planet multiplayer maps are coming next week. Yeah, going to be 400 points on the Xbox Live Marketplace and $5 on the PlayStation Store on June 1st. It's going to include Frozen Wasteland, which is a renovated version of the map from the original Lost Planet, and Dockyard Battle, a 16-player arena modeled after the factory level from Episode 4 of the game's campaign. So, if you're into Lost Planet 2, I'm telling you, this is a very rich co-op and multiplayer game. And I think it got bad reviews because they didn't focus enough on single player. And I say, so? There's certain games you buy, you just don't care about single player. Number 1, Modern Warfare 2. I don't care. I played it once. I'm never going to play it again. Battlefield Bad Company. I'm never going to play the single player again. Played it once. Didn't buy it for single player. The majority of the hours I got from those games, I'm getting from those games is multiplayer. That's why I buy it. That's why I understand the argument of people saying that a game doesn't have single player, it's not worth $60. You just look how many hours you put into it, and then tell me if it's worth $60 or not. That's my little soapbox for the moment. I'm going to get off of that. Check it out, guys. This is 2 more Lost Planet maps that are coming next week, June 1st, for $5 or 400 points on the Xbox Live Marketplace. Check it out. They got the details at, what site is this? Joystick.com. Check it out. Over there.
You found Bwana.org radio. Tech news and tech gadgets for the hardcore geek in all of us.
Now, speaking of Modern Warfare 2, see how I did that there? This weekend, this was announced by 402 that there's going to be a double XP weekend to celebrate Memorial Day. So it's a holiday in the United States to honor our veterans, and we're going to earn double XP. I think the last tweet I saw is that it's going to start on Friday morning. That's tomorrow morning when they get in the office. That's 402 said when they get in the office, they're going to flip the switch and it's going to go through the 3-day weekend. I think I don't know if they're going to flip it on Tuesday or Monday or whatnot. This is going to be on all platforms. So it's not just going to be on the Xbox 360. It's not going to be on just the PS3 or the PC. It's going to be on all of them. So if you're looking to get that prestige done, if you're right on the cusp of getting the 10th prestige, or you're not going to be doing much during the weekend, you might want to catch up on some Modern Warfare 2 to get that into place. So check it out. They got the details over joystick. They got the dongle kind of stuff over there. I don't know what I just said. Anyway, I believe I don't have the story in 250 notes, but Uncharted 2 is also going to be doing a double cash weekend to celebrate some new playlists that they're going to be putting out. So if you want to get into Uncharted 2, you can do that as well. I don't have the link in there, but I just remembered that when I read that. So check it out. Now, chibi stickers.
Wonder what the heck is a chibi sticker?
Yeah, chibi stickers for BioShock, Left 4 Dead, and more. The Legend of Zelda, Silent Hill, Olden Sphere, Final Fantasy 12, Lebits, from $4 to $10. Look at them. Want them. They're stickers. They're chibi. They're cute. I don't know. Those of you listening to the MP3, you're probably like, what the heck is he talking about? There's these little cute stickers for all these little games that you can get to put on your laptop or put on your computer or put on your door or your wall or your notebook or your book bag or whatever. Chibi stickers. I like these little chibi characters. I like to use them as little graphic ornaments in my my graphics that I produce. Like if I do a banner, I like to put them in there. Cute little renditions of people. But these are very, very well done. You can check these out. This is over on Game Set Watch. They got the details. Chibi stickers for BioShock, Left 4 Dead, and more for like $5. They're 3 inches. Very good size. Probably like that big. I got some silhouette stickers on the back of my laptop, and those will go very, very well with those if I were to get those. So check it out. They got the details over there. Now, next story is about AT&T. We're going to get off the gaming front now. We're going to talk about AT&T. Well, I was not happy to see this one, guys. AT&T, first they gave us the good news. They said, we're going to unlock all of your smartphones. Whatever smartphone you have, we will unlock it. We will do a carrier unlock so that you can run, your phone on T-Mobile. We'll do it for you under certain conditions. You got to be with a customer. You got to be a customer for at least 90 days and all this other good stuff and blah, blah, blah. Then I saw the fine print. It said, well, if you got an iPhone, no. They kind of worded it to say if we're in agreement, if we have a long-term agreement with a company, then this is null and void. And I think that's only for 2 devices. I think it's has to do with one of the RIM Blackberries and with the iPhone. So, yeah. If you're going to get excited about something, this is not the thing. When I first saw the headline, I was like, wow, AT&T is going to do unlocks for everybody now? And then, darn. Turns out it's the iPhone and BlackBerry Bold 9000 that are exempt. They're not obligated to issue an unlock. So if you want to move to T-Mobile, or if you got a second SIM card, if you use T-Mobile, then this is a good thing that you can do. You can use GSM phones on multiple carriers. A lot of people still don't know that if you buy a phone on a GSM carrier, you can use that phone if you move to another carrier. You don't have to trash the phone. A lot of Verizon customers and Sprint customers are used to the phone being directly tied to the carrier, and that's not the case with GSM phones. That's why I like GSM carriers, because I can take the SIM out of my iPhone and pop it in my Nokia E61 or my BlackBerry Pearl if I want to, and actually use the service. So check it out. This one's over. Where is this? This is over on Board Genius Report. .com. They got the details over there, and very, very, very disheartening news about the iPhone. Speaking of the iPhone, I'm just gonna pop right to this one. The latest Steve Jobs email. People have been posting these everywhere. They get an email back from Steve Jobs. I gotta let the whole world know. The whole world has to know that Steve Jobs emailed me back. Anyway, this guy sent Steve Jobs an email. He says, Steve, what up? Do you hate Adobe and their products, Photoshop, Illustrator, etc.? Or do you just hate their view on Flash? And what Steve Jobs said is that no, I respect and admire Adobe. We just choose not to have Flash on our devices. So this brought up some swelling pent up frustration on my part, because a lot of times I get into discussions, whether it be on Google Buzz, whether it be on, various outlets on the internet. People think that Steve Jobs has a personal vendetta against companies. They dismiss the business aspect of it and say, "Oh, he just hates Adobe. Oh, he just hates Microsoft. Oh, he just hates this. Or he just hates that." And I don't know why people do that. He's looked at as this person that acts upon his emotions, when I think he's pretty much the antagonist of that. He posted this very, very lengthy open letter, basically stating reasons why he believes Flash is not the future on the mobile web. And I gotta say, I agree with every word of it. My experiences with Flash show that in its current state, it just does not measure to what I want to do on a phone. They got to improve it. It's not like I want Flash to fail. I just want it to die in its current form. That's why when I say die Flash die a lot, because I just want it to die. Somebody come out with something else. That's why I was really hoping for HTML5 and VP8 and this other stuff that's coming out. Because we've given them a long time, and it doesn't seem that they're improving very much on the mobile platform. Now, I want to qualify that. This is on the mobile platform. Okay, Flash is built for the desktop right now. If you look at any Flash applet, just about any applet out there that, or any Flash embed out there. I use applet because I'm used to Java. Any embed out there that's not a video in Flash, there's a high chance that it needs keyboard input or that it needs mouse hover over input. And you can't do that on a lot of mobile phones. So outside of video, Flash is kind of pointless on mobile devices. Now, if you get a keyboard and mouse on it, then yeah, it's going to be like a computer. It'd be fine. Stuff like that. Not just the performance. It's just not ready for the mobile platform. And, that's what Steve is saying. He's saying, we're not ready to put it on our devices. We don't think it's ready. He might have, he stated a lot of performance reasons. It's the number one reason for crashes on Mac OS X. I agree with that. It's the same thing here. And it's just a lot of things wrong with Flash that I really believe can be improved. And it's frustrating when a new version of Flash comes out and it uses more resources. It's really frustrating. Like, oh, we're going to optimize this for hardware acceleration. Why is it using more of my hardware? Why does everything crawl? I understand you want to accelerate the video, but don't take down the system with it. It's a sad situation. So I want Flash to win. I do. And when I say win, I want Flash to be better, so that we can go to our mobile phone, go to any site that supports Flash, and be able to see it and not have the device either crawl, crash, or the battery life suffer tremendously. If we can do that, if the trade-off is worth it, and I think that's what a lot of people miss, the trade-off between putting Flash, I guarantee there were tests done on the iPhone. People probably think, oh, Steve Jobs didn't even put Flash on the iPhone. How does he even know? There's that personal thing again. It probably either zapped the battery life or it crashed like it does on the desktop, because iPhone OS is very much like Mac OS X. It's a scaled-down version of Mac OS X, so I can understand that it just doesn't work. And this goes for all platforms, guys. It's not just Mac OS X. I know a lot of people say that Mac OS X should be improved so that Flash will run better. This stuff happens on Windows and Linux as well. Flash has got some issues. Check it out. Steve Jobs says he respects and admires Adobe, but Flash needs to improve. And I definitely, I can't agree with that statement anymore, even more. So check it out. This one's over on 9to5mac.com. They got the details. Now we're going to move towards Posterous and talk about some blogging stuff. I've talked enough about Apple today. And Posterous announced today that Markdown support is now supported. So if you're familiar with Markdown, you can do lists with these pound signs and item lists and numbers. A lot of cool stuff. So if you use Posterous to post to your blog, if you have a Posterous blog, I've been highly recommending it. You now can use Markdown. So check out the blog post. They got not definition. They got examples where you can define how to do syntax highlighting for various programming languages. Very, very cool stuff that Markdown can do. Check it out, guys. This is over on the official Posterous blog. They got the details over there about how you can use Markdown in your blog post. Now let's get into some very, very interesting, cool stuff and futuristic stuff. This is a futuristic wrist watch offered by the brains at Sony. This is the Sony Nextep computer that can be entirely worn on your wrist. Now they got the year 2020 up there because this thing, look at it. Just look at it. Those of you on the audio, it looks like the keyboard is almost invisible. And it's like the screen is like it's like an OLED. Man, it's sweet. And it definitely looks futuristic. I bet if we showed people today what the iPhone is now back in like 1980, they would look at it like we're looking at this right now. This thing is wow. And it can be worn around the wrist. Man, they're targeting 2020 as a projected release date. Wow. 10 years is not a long time, guys. I remember the year 2000 like it was yesterday. Those 10 years flew by. It's going to be here before you know it. Check it out, man. That thing is awesome. Check it out. That's over on Slash Gear. They got the details, pictures, and everything about Sony's futuristic watch computer thingy. That's very, very sweet. And we're going to end things tonight with the ultimate craziest story ever. Probably not ever on Bwana.org radio, but it's up there. Apparently a man decided to infect himself with a computer virus. No, I'm not talking about his computer. No, himself. Yeah. What he did is that he implanted an RFID chip inside himself and infected himself. So that when he walked through a reader, the virus spread and replicated. On purpose. This was part of an experiment designed to show how implantable bionic devices are susceptible to computer viruses. This is the future of computer warfare. So theoretically, with this technology, you can walk in to a place and take it down. Just walk in. You're like a computer version of like a T virus. Man, this is scary, man. And just imagine if they can do things with this chip to your body. Just imagine if this implant also has some nanotechnology to do stuff to your body. Like, oh, I don't know, stop your heart. Yeah. No longer are murder suspects going to be physically involved. All they have to do is walk by you and you will have a heart attack. Possibilities are endless. Endless possibilities. Check it out, guys. This is scary stuff. Check it out. This is over on where is this? I think it's Rewrite Web. No, it's actually on PC World. They got the details over there. A man infects himself. That's just when I first read the headline, I was kind of startled because I was like, how in the world could you infect yourself with a computer virus? What, I know what a human virus or a biological virus is, but I was like, how can he do it? And then I read the story and I was like, oh, it's RFID stuff. But hey, this concept could be applied to a lot of weird stuff. So check it out. They got the details over there. And that concludes. That's it. That's it, man. There's no more stories. That concludes episode 250 of Bwana.org Radio. That's the last story that we're going to be doing in this format. Like I said in the beginning, Bwana.org Radio in this format will be no more. So I hope you guys enjoyed this final episode related to tech and tech news. I started Bwana.org Radio in 2004 or 5. And it started with me on a Logitech microphone talking about stupid stuff. It was It was amazing that it came this far, because I think back to those days and what I was doing. I was just acting stupid. And then I joined the Tech Podcast Network, and they taught me a lot of stuff, and I grew with them. My audience grew. And then next thing you know, Bwana.TV is on the Podcast Awards for, Podcast of the Year in the tech category. And I'm like, what? What the heck happened? This was just a hobby. So I want to thank you guys all these years. Those of you, especially those of you who have subscribed and have downloaded the podcast, you have been troopers. You have been supporting me in ways you don't know how. I've been able to pay for web hosting, been buying equipment with the money that I make from my sponsors to that you guys, like I said, the guys who download the episodes, because that's how I make the money. Those of you who come on and support me live, I appreciate you too. But the people who downloaded the episodes, all right, I really appreciate it. And there are people out there, I got an email from someone who said that I've been a subscriber ever since you made that PSP tutorial on how to view podcasts on the PSP. And I was like, wow, that was when the PSP first came out. That was years ago. And this person had been subscribed to my podcast that entire time. And I was like, wow, that's dedication. That is dedication. And I got a lot of I'm telling you, I got like maybe 5 or 6 emails just from the blog post. People going, I really love your podcast. I'm sad to see it go. People in the chat room, all of you who support me all the time, been saying the same thing. They're gonna miss the podcast, but they're happy that I'm gonna continue to create content, and that's going to be the goal here at Bwana.org Radio. So thanks, guys, again. I really appreciate it. All right, folks, that concludes the final episode of Bwana.org Radio, and thank you for being fans all this time.